شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا مولانا وبارك وسلم عليه. My brothers in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. We must thank the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the grace of His beloved Habib Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, who has brought us together, alhamdulillah, to make zikr of those actions of our beloved Habib Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, which we have to act upon and make us better Muslims, inshallah. As we had mentioned to you that we started Kitabul Imaan, that part of the hadith where our beloved Habib Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself states about iman. Okay, what is iman? We mentioned to you before that just by reading the kalima la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a person becomes a Muslim. But to become a mu'min, you have to follow, you have to act upon those 70 branches of iman. 70 branches of iman. And as we mentioned, alhamdulillah, the first and the greatest form of iman is the la ilaha illallah, to recite the kalima and to believe in your heart, in your mind, that there is no God besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and His beloved Habib Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam is His messenger and His prophet. And the smallest form, the smallest branch of iman is to remove something that will give azar, something that will hurt somebody, and that is something in the path of the road. Like for example, if you find maybe a stick in the road, and you know that if you walk past or somebody else walk past without looking, they'll fall down if they see that, or they trap on that. So to remove that from the road, to remove that punishment or that hurt that somebody can occur, that is basically also the smallest branch of iman. So now they also talk now, as we mentioned, that the hadith that came before this was riwayat by Hazrat Anas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, where he talked about iman. And he says that iman that we are talking about, to become a mu'min, iman are those actions which makes you become a mu'min. Right? So he says the first hadith before this was La yu'minu ahadukum hatta akuna habba ilayhi min walidihi wa waladihi wan nasi ajma'in. So he made it very clearly that your iman, what you believe in, your iman to become a mu'min, that complete mu'min can only be achieved by loving the beloved Habib Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam more than your family and more than your children and more than your parents. But if you look at this now, you'll find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's Habib Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, he talks with wisdom. He talks with wisdom and the inspiration of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because when you see that, as we mentioned yesterday, you remember we said that when a child, before the child is born, while the child is in his mother's womb, Allah creates love between them. Now that love that Allah creates between a mother and a child, even that mother also haven't got power to stop that love. Why? That love, it comes on its own. कि Allah ने वो मोहब्बत पैदा किया, that you can't stop. Right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's Habib Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam is making it even clearer here, that even that love which Allah has created in your heart, which you cannot stop, your iman and becoming a mu'min, the condition of that is that you must love our beloved Habib Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam even more than that. Then only your iman is complete. And they say Hazrat Anas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, as we mentioned to you, that he was almost the same as Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Why? Because the only difference between the two of them was that Hazrat Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, every time he heard a hadith of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he used to forget. And after the dua of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, as we mentioned, that every word that he heard from Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, it went inside, never come out again. That is why we said that the most hadiths that were riwayat in any kitab that you pick up today, the most is riwayat by Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala. Why? Because of the dua of our Nabi Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then we are talking about Hazrat Anas radiallahu ta'ala. It is said that the only difference between Anas radiallahu ta'ala and Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala was that Abu Hurairah used to remember, but Hazrat Anas radiallahu ta'ala also used to write. That's the only difference. So you used to hear from Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam and he used to record. So that is the only difference between the two of them. And also Hazrat Anas radiallahu ta'ala lived up to the age of 99 to 100. And in certain riwayats it is also mentioned that the Sahabi of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, this Khadim, the slave of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, also had in his lifetime at least about 100 children. Sahabi and Nabi, Sahabi and Rasool. Big, great alim he was. You know why? This is sohbat ka maqam ibadat se bhi zyada hai. Sohbat ka maqam ibadat se bhi zyada hai. You know why they say that? How they say that if you spend time with a wali of Allah, it is better than making ibadat for 1,000 years. 1 minute of time that you spend sitting with a wali of Allah, وَإِنْ أَرَادَ أَن يَجْلِسُ مَعَ اللَّهِ يَجْلِسُ مَعَ أَهْلِ التَّصَوُّفِ. That if you want to sit next to Allah, sit next to that person who is a wali of Allah, the Ahl al-Tasawwuf. Also it says that if you want to sit next to a wali for even 5 minutes, that 5 minutes of yours sitting next to a wali of Allah, that nigah of a wali, and nigah wali mein wo taasir dekhi badalti hazaron ki takdeerein thi. Shayad he says that. He says nigah wali mein, you see a wali, a awliya of Allah, he's looking, his nazar, only his nazar changed 1,000 people's takdeer. That's why my ustad always used to say, namaz agar qaza ho jaye to ada ho sakte. नमाज अगर कज़ा हो जाए तो हो सकता है, लेकिन अगर नजर कज़ा हो जाए तो कभी अदा नहीं. उसमें जो इबादत, your adab, your respect, your love that was taught by our beloved Habib Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if that is not in the front, then nazar will go away. The ibadat, like namaz, is important. Namaz is first. But look how the walis of Allah put it. See, what is the use of that namaz when you without the beloved Habib Muhammad? What is the use? It's bekar. Because if you cannot love Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam more than your own family, more than your own children, how is your ibadah going to be accepted? That's how the walis became walis of Allah. Why? Because they threw the dunya away, they kicked the dunya. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, He said, today we want to run and make this one a friend, and that one is my friend, and that one is my friend, my brother, that one is like this, is like that. Allah khillahu yawma izin ba'dahum li ba'din adu. Allah says clearly, that person today who you give your life for, Allah khillahu yawma izin ba'dahum li ba'din adu. That when that day comes, one person will be an enemy of the next. Be your enemy. Dunya is your friend. But in the eyes of Allah, when you're standing there, my dushman is my enemy. Illa ibadak minhum. But those that made ibadat khalis for Allah and His Rasool Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his actions that he had made or he had done in his life was solely for our Habib Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If he befriended somebody, he befriended him because of the sake of our Nabi Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If he hated someone, he hated him because of our Nabi alayhi salatu wasallam and Allah. Then only you will be a person that is successful in this world and that. So this hadith, Nabi alayhi salatu wasallam says, through Hazrat Anas radiallahu ta'ala, Hazrat Anas radiallahu ta'ala, remember my brothers, he spent 10 years like a shadow on top of Nabi alayhi salatu. He was like a slave. He was given that opportunity to live with Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam and to make khidmat of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. So he used to be with him, all the secrets he knew. And one of the first secrets he mentioned to us was the first that hadith, that your iman is not complete until you have complete love and devotion towards Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. Now he says, one Anas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, قال رسول الله صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم ثلاث من كنا ثلاثة قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ثلاث من كنا فيه وجد بهن حلاوة الإيمان. Allah. He said that Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam has stated there are three things in iman. He said the 70 branches of iman. We heard of the biggest one, we heard of the smallest one. Now we must hear the sweetness of that. What is the sweetness of that? See, iman is the main thing in your life. If you are a mu'min, you are successful. If you're just a Muslim, you're hanging between the asman and the zameen. And whoever sits in the middle, जो दरमियान में लड़का हुआ है उसको क्या कहते हैं? मुनाफिक कहते हैं. और जो मुनाफिक है वो अल्लाह फरमाते हैं इन्नल मुनाफिकीन फी दर्की अस्फल मिनन नार. The munafiq is that person who will get the lowest place in Jahannam, that is his azab. But he's a Muslim. Lekin munafiq. So Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam says, in iman, where there is 70 branches, from that iman, there is three things which has the sweetness of that iman. In anything we eat, we have to look at the sweetness. Can you eat anything that's sour and smile after that? Some people are like that. Sour fish. Sour sweet they eat, sour both they eat, this one, that. But sweetness, each and every one of us, in every action that we do, or in every single thing that we do, we look for the sweetness of that thing or whatever they want to do. You don't look for that? For example, you're building a house now. What is the sweetness of a person when you build a house? Where do you get the sweetness? When the roof is finished, hey, the roof is nice, beautiful. That is the sweetness. When you get married to a woman, the first night, what do you taste? The sweetness. Allah says in the Quran, it says there's three different types of talaq. One is known as talaq raji, then you get talaq bain, and then you get talaq mughaliza. Talaq raji, it comes from the word ruju, just so you can understand. It comes from the word ruju, which means that you want to take back. So you give the one talaq and you leave her. If you decide in the time of the period or whatever it may be, you want to bring her back, you can hold her hand with lust, you can look at her with lust, you can touch her with lust. She'll be your wife again. Talaq will follow. But if you leave it and she goes past that period, automatically it becomes talaq bain. And talaq bain means it's a knot that is binded, that knot breaks. Bain. Either you give one talaq and leave her, like how the Sahaba Ikram used to do talaq sunnah, jisko kehte. Today we figure out what is talaq sunnah, what is talaq nafs. Kisi ke paas igal nahi. Talaq sunnah, talaq Sahaba was like that. Kisi ko takleef nahi de. Don't want it, Baba chhod de, leave it. Do your duty and finish. Allah will give you azab. This talaq, raji, is one talaq where there is permissibility of bringing the person back by touching or whatever the case may be. If you don't, in that time it becomes talaq bain, that knot that was broken, it breaks. If you want her back, you must make tajdeedul nikah, you must make nikah again. Or, you can say it one time. I give you 1 time talaq bind, immediately the nikah is null and void. Immediately. 2 talaq. Tasdeenun nikah. But when you give the 3 talaq, or you give it 3 together, number 1 is to give 3 talaqs together in 1 time, it is makruh. It doesn't mean that the talaq is not valid. Some people now under the understanding that when a woman has a menstrual period, and if you give her talaq, the talaq is null and void. No such thing. She can be in whatever state she wants to be. If you say it, it's done and it's over, finishing class. So the 3rd talaq, when Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, it wants to teach us a lesson. See, that man, he's got so much of strength in him that he just gives the 3 talaq like that. How can you do that? Give 1 and leave it. And then give 2 and leave it. Why you want to be so decision to yourself and say, no, I want to give 3 talaq? Everybody say, give the 3 talaq. It's easy. Allah said the 3rd talaq is known as talaq mughaliza. And the meaning of talaq mughaliza is to dive into guna. So it means there's so many ways of doing it. You go forward and you dive into guna. Now imagine now, if that person now wants to marry that woman again. So the Quran says, I was explaining the word halal, the sweetness. The Quran says you must make nikah again to someone. Taste the sweetness of that woman. And then the next day, if he gives her talaq, she can come back and marry the first man. Diving into guna. And why the severity of that? That man, every time he looks at his wife, he must think to himself what he did. Allah's wisdom. Halawat. So even there, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about halawat. And also, my brothers in Islam, you must remember that the talaq, there's 3 types of talaq, and there's ways of doing it, where there's talaq is sunnat, where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how he gave talaq, how the Sahaba ikram gave the talaq. Talaq is Sahaba, there are ways of doing it. And there are ways of also getting sawab in doing it. Why get gunah in doing something? So, as we said, that the sweetness of your imaan, man kana Allahu rasulahu ahabba ilayhi mimma siwahuma, that the sweetness of imaan, man kana Allahu rasulahu ahabba, is when you do anything in your life, or anything that is put in front of you. You must know in your heart and your mind there is nothing more loved or beloved by you besides our beloved Habib Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That was people ask you, he just spoke about Muhammad. Why Allah's Habib is saying it again? Many people think it's the first hadith is common. You will love Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam more than your mother, more than your father, more than your family, more than your money, more than anything else in this world. That is one thing. Your iman comes complete, yes. But the sweetness of that iman is in the love of Nabi Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and every single action that you do with the love of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your heart, you will feel the sweetness of that amal. Otherwise you will never get the sweetness of anything.